Silent Hills is a rumored upcoming survival horror video game that is being developed and published in a partnership between Sony and Konami. Kojima is said to be involved to some extent as well. I have recently covered all the rumors and leaks around a Silent Hill reboot that is said to be in development and is a separate project from Silent Hills, so I will link that video down below if you want to check that out. But within this past week, more rumors have come out about the return of Silent Hills, so let's break down all the rumors, leaks, and speculation surrounding this title. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description down below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into everything we know about the Silent Hills leaks and return. If you aren't familiar with Silent Hills, I will give a very quick recap before we get into the rumors. Silent Hills was set to be the next entry in the Silent Hill franchise and was going to be a video game directed by Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, and released exclusively for the PlayStation 4. The team released a playable teaser on the PlayStation Store, which went very viral and captured the attention of the general gaming audience. And it wasn't until you beat the playable teaser that it revealed the title, and it showed that the game was going to be a Silent Hills game, and the protagonist was going to be played by Norman Reedus. In April of 2015, it was announced that the game had been cancelled and that Kojima had left Konami. The same trio, Kojima, Del Toro, and Reedus, went on to collaborate on Death Stranding, but some dedicated community members held out hope that we could see the return of Silent Hills at some point in the future. Then, in the beginning of 2020, many insiders had heard similar rumors that Konami was working on bringing back the Silent Hill franchise. Originally, it was rumored that two games were in development. One was an episodic take on Silent Hill, and the other would be a more traditional game that would serve as a soft reboot for the franchise. Many other insiders had also heard rumors that Silent Hills, with an S, might return as well. Rely on Horror, who I mentioned a lot in the original video, heard from their sources that, quote, Sony is working to patch up the relationship between Kojima Productions and Konami in order to resurrect the game due to the amount of buzz and continued demand for it 5 years after its cancellation. Their second source told them a very similar story, which verified the details and allowed them to move forward and publish this, as two separate sources had said the same thing. And they closed that by covering information they could not verify. They say that Silent Hills will make use of the next generation PlayStation VR headset for PlayStation 5, and Sony has pitched the game to Kojima as a Telltale/Supermassive Until Dawn narrative-driven style title, but they would still offer him full creative control. And the rumors started to be backed up by other sources as well. Eurogamer reported they had heard from their sources that the relationship between Kojima and Konami was improving in the past few years, but they couldn't verify if a Silent Hills game was being worked on again, but they at least said that the idea of Kojima and Konami working together is not out of the question, as it might have been a few years ago. And another notable insider, Dusk Golem, agreed on many of these points as well. And the rumors took another turn when a horror manga artist, Suhiro Maru, posted two pictures to Instagram. One was an image with the text Silent Hills and the caption saying, quote, afternoon invitations, hope you'll join in. And the other of a Kojima sign. And no one really knows what happened, what was being talked about in these conversations at Kojima, or if these talks were actually related to a Silent Hills revival or just leading fans up for nothing. And I want to reiterate that with all insider information, it could be outdated or just completely wrong, so take everything with a grain of salt, because some other smaller rumors that were around Silent Hills, one was stating that Kojima was offered a role in Silent Hills, but potentially declined the deal to work on a different undisclosed project instead, as he has been in high demand since leaving Konami. And then in September of 2020, most insiders were shifting away from the idea that anything would materialize out of the Silent Hill talks. Dusk Golem said that at one point the game was in talks during early 2020, but nothing ever happened past that point. And then this is when some of the rumors start to diverge, when one set of insiders say that yes, there were talks at one point, there was something happening, but they stopped, and others say no, the project went ahead. Before I get to that though, another interesting point I want to touch on before getting into those current rumors actually comes from Alana Pierce, who is previously from IGN and then Rooster Teeth and now Sony Santa Monica. But she is very well connected in the gaming industry and talked about some of the mechanics she heard the team had been testing for Silent Hills many years ago. It actually started with a Twitter post in 2019 when she said, quote, "I heard that Silent Hills would require you to sign a waiver before playing because it would somehow interact with your real world self, like by sending you emails or text messages as characters from the game even when you weren't actively playing." Now this tweet was in 2019, but she ended up elaborating further on what she meant in a video that she posted in 2020. She said that her source was valid in terms of being someone who would have information about the project, but could also not be reliable for many reasons. So she says to take all of this news that she has with a grain of salt. But she says not only were they discussing giving players a waiver to sign that would allow them to receive emails and texts, but they also wanted to include a mechanic that would allow players to use an app if they had smart lights to link the smart lights to the game, and they would flicker and change colors throughout the story and as you play. Along with that, there would also be a PlayStation glitch mechanic that would make weird errors and different things happen to your PlayStation 4, but they were all just a part of the game and wouldn't actually harm the console. She has a longer video on the topic, so if you're really interested, I would say watch that. But it just kind of goes into how far Kojima wanted to take this game and potentially how far he could take it if he is using the PlayStation VR. And with that brings us up to this past week when rumors started to circulate that the project was not dead and that Kojima did decide to return. And not only that, but we will see the reveal of the game very soon. So the information comes from the YouTube channel Moore's Law is Dead, and who most people trust due to him having information on the reveal of God of War 2 before it was formally announced. And he stated that he can almost confirm that Silent Hills is in active development for the PlayStation 5 from Kojima Productions, and the announcement will be at the Game Awards 2020. He does say that he has multiple sources who have told him the same information, but he also says he hasn't talked to anyone who's actually working on the game, but doesn't go into any further details about then who his sources are and where they're coming from, just that they're not people who are working on the game. And if all this is true, it wouldn't be that surprising. Kojima and the Game Awards have a very good relationship, but as always, this is still just a rumor, and one that many insiders don't agree on. Dusk Golem still claims, as of today at the time of recording, that Silent Hills is not happening and the current rumors are completely false, but he does say that he would be happy to be wrong. And Rely on Horror echoed this sentiment that a Silent Hill reboot is very likely, which was my original video, and that the news around the return of Silent Hills has been sparse at best, and that Kojima returning to work on the project seems unlikely, even if the relationship between Kojima and Konami has slightly improved since the original cancellation. Now, the good part about a leak like this is the Game Awards are just over a week away at the time of recording and take place on December 10th, so we don't have too much longer to wait to see what happens with this rumor and the Silent Hill rumors in general. And that's where I'm going to end this video. I tend to agree with Rely on Horror and Dusk Golem that it seems like a reboot is more likely because of the information we have that developers and teams can be tied to that project, while the Silent Hills rumors seem unlikely. That doesn't mean I wouldn't want the project to return, because I would say myself and most fans do want to see the return of Silent Hills, but it just seems unlikely, and the timing seems strange as well that a lot of this was happening within a few weeks of the Game Awards. Either way, that's everything we know about the Silent Hills leaks, and I will leave the information up to you guys to decide for yourself. As always, make sure to like and share this video, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.